Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got a powerful and wonderful show coming your way. A lot of things been happening in the world, especially when it comes to mental health, when it comes to death, when it comes to, just tragedy in general. And many times we don't always understand, how we handle that, what we're supposed to say, or whatever that is. We got a guest on today that's going to talk about those things. But I tell you what, before we even start anything, I want to lock the radio station, television, everything into one platform. So, Kevin, let's do it.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley. It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley. Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We got a powerful show coming your way today. We got this young lady. She's been on the show several times, and a very important individual to myself and Michelle. And I tell you what, this young lady that's coming on the show today is, just extremely wonderful, best-selling authors. I mean, she just do it all. But she's going to talk to us about a topic that's so dear to us because we all have loved ones. We all experience losses. We all experience a lot of different things in life. And sometimes we don't know how to react or what to do or what to say, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we got this young lady on that's going to help us resolve all of those issues and tell us about some of the great things she's doing. But I can't even start the show without bringing on the executive producer and also the co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And yes, we've had this guest on the show multiple times, and she's always bringing a wealth of knowledge on the show. And, the title of the show is saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. And sometimes you don't know what to say. Doesn't have to be tragedy. It could be, people going through stuff and you try to find the cliche words to give them hope or to comfort them. But sometimes those cliche words may backfire and they don't want to hear it. Sometimes silence is the best and just listening. So we're going to talk about, this topic. So we're really excited to have her back on the show.
I believe that we all have been in those type of situations, Michelle, where I call it dumbfounded for words or afraid that you're going to say the wrong thing or even make the situation worse. That's why we need folks like Paula, therapists that are out to help resolve some of those things and just bring to our attention some of the things that we can do. So, Michelle, you already introduced the title of the show. Can you talk about the purpose of the show and introduce this absolutely wonderful guest for us?
Yes, we're having a conversation with life transitions coach, grief specialist, best-selling author, keynote speaker, and media host Paula Shaw. She's going to be talking about improving our communication skills and learn how to connect more with those around us who are going through things, learning how to effectively process our emotions and be there for those who need our support, and 10 areas that impact and influence a person's ability to know what to say when somebody is sad, and talk about bridges beyond grief. So let's talk a little bit about Paula Shaw today. For more than 25 years, she's been dedicated to helping people navigate the stress of change and challenge using mind-body tools and techniques. She's a founding member of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. She strongly believes that the tools and methods of this field can shortcut meaningful change and help people get their lives on track and move in the desired direction more quickly than traditional methods. She's just launching here her all-inclusive coaching program, Bridges Beyond Grief, a customized approach that walks each individual through the challenges of loss and change and helps them find a vibrant, satisfying life of purpose and joy. Like I said, she's authored several books, including Chakras, The Magnificent Seven, Grief and Will This Pain Ever End, and Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. Please welcome back to the show, Miss Paula Shaw.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, Paula? It's always an absolute pleasure having you on the show because we go way back. We
Oh,
go
yes,
way,
we do.
actually we go.
The very beginning.
You gave me my first start in radio and which led to television and everything. So I owe the world to you.
Uh,
you know, and plus not just that, but the things that you have been doing ever since I know. A grief coach, working with folks, helping people put things back together. I mean, just easing a lot of the pain that many of us are experiencing or going to experience or already have experienced. So,
yeah.
Paula, for our viewers and our listeners that have not seen you on the show before and have not seen your show, can you tell them a little bit more about you and what makes you click?
Oh, what makes me click? What a fabulous question, JC. You know, it occurred to me recently that somebody said, "How was your day?" And my day had been filled with doing a service project for my Rotary group, and then working with a couple of clients, and then doing another thing that was of service. And I realized that's what really lights me up. I'm really sure that's what I came to the planet to do, to bring some kind of knowledge, because I think my work, where my expertise is in grief, loss, life transitions, change, as I've said many times, humans have a love-hate relationship with change. We absolutely must have it, or we would die of boredom and we wouldn't ever grow. But we hate the discomfort of the unfamiliar. So I feel like my role is to help people get comfortable with the unfamiliar so they can get back into their life and feel joy and vitality and meaning and purpose. And that's what I really love doing most.
Wow. You know what, Paul, I gotta say, you're beautiful as ever, as always.
Thank you.
Not 1 second. And I believe that you're not worrying about anything, you're not having all the pressure, being able to release, being able to talk to others will kind of help keep you young and keep you from being stressed out. Can you talk about that a little bit?
First of all, may I say that one of my favorite moments whenever I do your show, JC, is when you refer to me as this young lady. At 73, those words are golden anytime you hear somebody say them. So thank you for that. No, I do not live a stress-free life. None of us really do. But there is one area that I do have a certain level of confidence, and that is feeling that I really know how to have a conversation with somebody in emotional pain. Because, being a therapist, you better get good at that or you're not going to be doing your work for very long. And especially in doing the work to write my book, which is what we were calling the title of the show, Saying the Right Thing, or holding it without the glare is hard, saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. I actually wrote that book because I just could not hear one more client say, nobody brought it up. Nobody came by. Nobody talked about my loss, and at first that was shocking news, but after hearing it over and over again and exploring the circumstances, I realized exactly why that was happening. And it wasn't because nobody had good, caring friends or good, caring family. It was because those good, caring people, for a variety of reasons, felt inept. didn't know exactly what to say or do when somebody was in agony, was in severe emotional pain. And so what happens is a million excuses come up, a million things we have to do. So we can't go by, we can't make the call, we can't be there to support them. And may I say to your listeners, what hurting people need most is support. They may not need words even, but support. I heard the most touching story on a podcast. And what this meant, and this was a very famous author, and he lost his daughter she was like 18, 19. And a friend of his showed up on the doorstep the next day with groceries and said, I'm not coming in. You don't have to talk to me, but I'm here with some supplies for you, and I'll be out here on the porch, just being here and supporting you. And if you should at any point want to talk, I'm here, but you don't need to.
Hold that thought, Paul. Hold that thought, because we're going to take a station break.
Okay.
I'm going to pick it up from there with the groceries and guys, because sometimes that's all it takes to bring joy and happiness to others. So I tell you what your platform that you're watching us on, or if you're listening to us on the radio, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do it down 1-877-344-1170. That's the answer out of San Diego. AM 1170, the answer, FM 96.1. I tell you what, it's your life, and we're going to be back shortly after the break.
To help you overcome adversity. Come
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, and one that keeps us close when we're apart. Talking from the darkness of all that we've been through, it seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again a life of
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, got just absolutely fantastic host of mine, my good friend, Paula Harris, and Paula Shaw. What I'm talking about, Paula Shaw, of that. Just like I mentioned earlier, been doing some great things for a long time, and our books are absolutely wonderful, especially the one that we're talking about today. And we're gonna dive off into that one. But Paula, you was talking about, a person that had just lost their daughter, and one of his friends showed up at the door with groceries and said, "Oh, I don't need to come in and chat. I just want to make sure that you're okay." And can you pick it up from there?
Sure. I was just saying that hurting people need support. And too often we don't show up because of our own discomfort. We're not sure we know the right way to talk to them. We're not sure we know how to support. We think maybe they just need to be alone. And trust me, even when people say they need alone, we don't heal in isolation. We heal best with support. Sometimes that support is just somebody sitting next to us while we watch a movie. It doesn't have to be constant dialogue, but people who have a lot of pain building up inside need to get it out. And we do that best with conversation. But remember, a conversation with somebody in that kind of pain might also include tears. And that's where sometimes the problems come in. People don't know what to do with other people's emotionality.
And Paula, that's why, one of my sayings, and I talked about it on your show, is even going through pain, even going through any type of situation, circumstances, sometimes it requires us to use what I call the CCU rule.
What's
The CCU, uh, the first C is, a person is going, they need guidance, they need this, they need that, regardless of the situation is. Sometimes you have to just coach them through it. Just, coach them. I mean, just get them guidance. Say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Now, you just mentioned the other C when you saying this. No one really wants to be in isolation. I'm talking truly be in isolation when they're doing it, but we all
right?
see it. Sometimes, we just have to be, just listen to what they got to say. Let them get it out. Let them cry. Let them do
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yes.
So that's the chaplain portion of the coach,
Uh,
chaplain. And sometimes I believe that we all get outrageous through mental thoughts and want to hurt ourselves and want to do this and want to do that because we're going through the agony and we're going through the pain, and sometimes as a friend you have to step in like, hold up, you're out of line right there. No, we don't need to go there. You have to
yeah.
be the umpire.
hmm
You have to call the balls and strikes and help them get back on the right track. What are your thoughts on them? Because you brought that up and you triggered me to going through my CCU process.
I love the CCU process. That's very, very cool and right on, absolutely spot on, because we know that people who are in pain need to talk. And let's remember, this isn't just about the loss of death. This is about loss of a job, loss of a boyfriend, loss of health. There are so many different kinds of loss that people need to process. And truly, one of the best ways we humans process is to be able to speak to another human. And so, this idea of, yes, being the coach, encouraging them, and not, oh, what's the word I hate? Like not lecturing, not teaching them. They're not in a position for lecturing or teaching, but the coach aspect, the encouragement, helping them know what path to take, and the umpire coming in and, yeah, that was good. No, that doesn't work. But I think having an open heart, and I'm so delighted you brought up that word, listen, JC, because that's the core of the whole thing. I mean, I often think it's very ironic that my book is entitled Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. But one of the biggest points in the book is listen. Be present and listen. And I mean head present, heart present. You're not making the grocery list for tomorrow. You're not thinking about what you got to do after you leave this person's presence. You are right there with them because something magical happens energetically when you are really tuned in, when you're really listening. First of all, I think you always do say the right thing when you're really listening because there's this heart to heart connection. And the other thing is the person feels the energy of that listening. They feel your heart there and they can open up much more easily and say the things they need to say.
Wow. Well put, well put. But all the many of us, we are afraid to come around, especially our loved ones, people that we care about, because we don't know what to say. We
Yeah.
don't know how to say it. Your book breaks down all of the, I think you had about 10 steps and breaks down every portion of it. You started out by being present, being there.
Mhm.
That's support right there, I believe. And that shows that, hey, I don't know what you're going through. At least I mean, I can imagine, but really, we don't know what another person is actually going through. But we can be there to support them, and
Mhm.
we can be there to help out as much as we can. But I believe that we also have to think cognitively, uh, meaning that you just don't say something just to be saying it,
Right.
just acting. Can you
Right.
talk about that a little bit?
That's a very interesting point you made, JC, because it's a fine line between thinking cognitively but still staying heart-based. So before I go into that, let's talk about those 10 things that you were mentioning that I talk about in the book that are some of the things, not certainly not all, but some of the major things that separate people and that make it hard to know what to say to certain people. So those things are number one, family experiences. What did you experience? What were you taught growing up? Family values and beliefs, those impact how you think. Whatever your family thought was right, that's what you think is right. And so that may be very different from the way the family down the street was operating. Societal norms and values, those impact how we think and what ideas we have about how you're supposed to act or respond when there's pain in your life. Cultural expectations impact our thoughts and behaviors. Cultural practices. There was a time when if someone you loved died, you wore black, maybe for a year, or a black armband. That was a cultural practice, but that may be very different in a different practice or in a different culture, excuse me. Um, Personal beliefs certainly impact how we think. For example, if it's my belief that when you're really sad and grieving, you should cry softly. You shouldn't make a scene. But now my friend who let's say is of an origin where they wail or they're much more expressive in their grief, I might have a little difficulty in communicating with this friend because they're doing things in a way I didn't think you were supposed to do them. So we got to keep that open mind when we're trying to help others. Then there's also personal life experiences, personal values, peer expectations, and also prior traumatic experiences. All of those things are going to impact what I and you think you should say or do with a person who's in emotional pain.
hold that thought because you know we got to take a station break.
Okay.
But I want to get back to this. This is so interesting. And I tell you, whichever platform that you are watching us on, all you have to do is go to the comments, answer the question that you might have, or pick up the phone, dial 1-877-344-1170, AM 1170 answer, FM 96.1, KCB, San Diego. We'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of
really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you, I was getting off into Paula explaining the 10 different points of view that she writes in her book, saying the right things when you don't know what to say. And just like I know many of you have been in that situation, some of you are in that situation, and we have to prepare to be able to go through that situation because life, we don't know what is expected. It changes daily. Therefore, I believe that we should listen to this young lady right here. And I do call her young. Look at her. She says she's 73 years old. I don't think she's any older than 40. I mean, I don't know what she's using. I don't know what it is. But she needs to follow that and make sure we all get some of it. So hey, Paula, you was explaining, you was going through, I think you were on step 3, somewhere right around, I'm not sure exactly what step in the book, but I want to pick it up from there.
Well, actually, what we were talking about, the different areas of our lives that create different ways that we perceive and respond to life and to people in our lives. And so there were 10 areas that I discussed. And, it's all of the kinds of things that you would think. It's how you were raised, who raised you, what are the beliefs, was there religion involved, what are the practices that you value, what are your thoughts about life, how we're supposed to live it. All these things impact us. And we all had different kinds of upbringing. Even if you grew up on the same street and you went to the same church and the same school and all of that as somebody else, their parents still had different things that were spoken about in the home, different things that were taught. And so all of those things impact how we think stuff should happen and how we think things should be done and what should be said and what should not be said. And so remember, I don't even know the percentage, but we all know a big percentage of our life day to day happens on an intellectual level, right? Most people go into the office, they're talking about the task at hand, they're talking about the game they saw last night, excuse me, sharing stories about their children. This is mostly head stuff. But when somebody's hurting, now we're talking heart stuff. And remember, the head is intellectual, the heart is emotional. And when we're emotional, sometimes the head isn't involved at all, right? In fact, science even tells us that emotion happens with the right side of the brain and intellect is on the left. So those two things don't even live together. And one of the challenges I have as a therapist is taking somebody who's primarily working in the right side of their brain with the emotion and helping them to be able to integrate the left side of the brain so that they can find some logical solutions and thoughts that are helpful. You referred to that earlier, JC, when you were talking about the coaching and the umpire.
Well, let me bring something else. Another one of my philosophies, and you just talked about that one. It's all depending on how you was raised and how, and everybody is different. You're talking about different, but you mentioned about church. You mentioned about a lot of these type of things. I can only speak for myself. Um, I was you know my story. Born 7 or 10 kids by
Mhm.
a mother that had 6 different fathers of her kids, but never was married. And she had 10 kids. She couldn't afford to take care of everybody, so she picked 2 of them to send to my aunt and uncle and grandma in Alabama. And life changed dramatically from where I was at in the projects. Um, um, Growing up with 9 other siblings, to
Yeah.
going to Alabama, where if we thought we were poor in the projects, we was extremely poor in the country. However, the the things that you grow up with instilled in you, your beliefs, your thoughts, it brings up, and you mentioned emotions, uh,
Mhm.
intellect, but I also add the will. I call it the E of your emotion, your intellect, and your will. What's instilled in you,
Mm.
uh, values, core values, is also how you're going to see things in life. If you're going to church every day, which we had to go 6 days, 7 days a week, uh,
Wow.
instilled in us, getting up, a work ethic. You had to go grab the eggs. You had to go do this. You had to do that. You had to uh, get the water from the well. All of these type of things that incurs and then instill in you a work ethics, and
Mm.
also instill in you values, and also instill in you love, and it also instills in you how you treat others
Yeah.
and understanding how these types of things are. So I understand that extremely well. Your emotions, yeah, you react when you're doing the emotion. I mean, whatever, you just react. Your intellect is kind of like having the green guy on one shoulder, red guy on the other one, and that's your intellect, and they fight among each other. Your
Mhm.
will is your values. EIW. And the way that you explained, the only thing you didn't mention was the will, because that's what values is all about, and that's
Yeah.
where we formulate our thoughts and opinion and on how we should react. At least I did. Uh,
Mhm.
Others, when they're going through tragedies, when they're going through not just tragedies, but anything, just like you mentioned, the loss of a girlfriend, a loss of a job, the loss of all of these type of things. All of these things, I believe, plays a major role in being able to cope with certain things that's it's
Mhm.
coming through, or looking at others as you see them experience these type of things. Can you talk about that a little bit?
You know, you just gave a perfect example, I think, of one of the points I've been trying to make. I do know you personally, JC, and now hearing this story of you going to this country life, and we've talked about that many times before. My guess would be that when you were sad, or any of your siblings or family were sad, people put their arms around them, gave them a big hug, maybe patted them a little bit, and just said, "Don't worry, honey, everything's going to be all right." There was a lot of physical support. And if you started crying, that was okay. Nobody was shocked, because your people were more emotional people, more physical. But let's say now you have a good friend, maybe somebody you were in the military with, who was from a part of the world where they practiced more what we call stiff upper lip, or a very conservative, controlled way of being. If that person watched you and your family supporting each other, they might just be floored, like, whoa, what are they doing? They're not being proper. They're not being appropriate, because that's their perspective. So you see what I'm saying? For you, there's a certain kind of support that would feel good. If you come home feeling awful, and Michelle was just very reserved and didn't give you a hug and say, "Hey, baby, what's going on?" you would think something was very wrong. But different kinds of people with different kind of upbringing would expect a sit down and maybe an intellectual conversation, and not the same kind of thing that we've talked about here.
Wow. We got a question, kind of like a question from Joshua Goldsmith, listening to the show. It says, "Hi there. How would you say a narcissistic personality disorder develops?"
Oh,
Thank you.
what? Personality disorder.
uh, Kind of like a controlling um, uh, disorder.
Oh.
Develop.
Sort of a person we might refer to jokingly as a control freak.
Yes.
Yeah. We've all known them. Strangely enough, the way that kind of thing evolves in a people is when their world has been so out of control, and that out of control situation caused trauma. For example, an alcoholic father who was unpredictable after he got drunk. That kind of traumatic experience over and over again might cause a person to really want to be in control of people around them, of the things happening, and particularly the behaviors around them. So I hope that's helpful, Joshua.
Hey, Josh, if that didn't answer, come back on and answer. You kind of got me on that one, Josh. I'll tell you what, Paul. You got to take a station break.
Okay.
You already know the way.
There we go.
Take a station break. I tell you, I am enjoying this conversation. And I tell you, this person, if you need help, whatever that is, you might need to reach out to him immediately. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is go to the comments. That's any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. I'll pick up the phone, dial 1-877-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll be back shortly after the break.
'There's more stories of greatness. There's 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 more stories of gre
you.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
Fight against. And if you want my opinion, I'll let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And I tell you, Paula, you're an amazing person. I don't know how you're able to break things down the way that you're doing this, where it makes sense to everybody, and everybody feel that they're listening. Wow, yeah, that's how it should be done. I didn't think about it that way, but I will from here on out.
Mhm.
So
Good.
wow,
That's why we're here, right?
that's why we're here, and I tell you, it's just so amazing when you have therapists that's able to share those ideas and share some of the things that we don't normally talk about, and we don't even think about until we find ourselves in situations like that. I want to pick it up with that.
Okay. Whoa, that means I can go in a lot of directions. Well, you know what, JC, this might be a good place to talk a little bit about a new kind of a coaching approach that I'm using, because I've realized that everybody's grief is unique and everybody's circumstances are unique. And so what I'm doing in my program Bridges Beyond Grief is I'm kind of individualizing the work for each person. So we aren't just necessarily doing a session each week and then let's see how it goes. It's going to be customized for each client, because maybe one client needs a little call for 5 minutes every morning, or a text giving them encouragement, or a workbook. There are different ways of working with different people. And I think this is going to be much more kind of like uh, your grief coach in your pocket. Whenever you need them, you can shoot a text and say, hey, do you have 5? Or can we do this in the next one? And I think it's going to give me a fun opportunity to do things in a much more individual, customized way. And it's going to be so much better for the grieving client or the client. Now, we're not just talking grieving because of some serious loss. We're talking clients who are dealing with life transitions. That might be a move to a new city. It might be a new job. It might be marriage. You know, life transitions are just mean we're changing from one place we were in one way we were living to something else. And as I said in the beginning, that's not always comfortable for humans because we love the comfort of the familiar. So those will be a lot of my clients too. People, maybe somebody got a big, huge job and now they're taking on new responsibilities or sold their company and now they want to find meaning in their lives. So I'm excited about working with these kinds of people too, because they're dealing with change, just like we said in the beginning. Loss always creates change.
So you talk about the new philosophy. When are you kicking this off, and how can people get in touch with you and be a part of this, and just sharing the experiences?
It will be out there for real by March 1st, but already people are seeing the videos, seeing the information. All they got to go to is bridgesbeyondgrief.com. And you'll see a webinar explaining a lot of the things, explaining how I work, explaining why I'm doing this. And people, even as soon as this week, if they want to book a call and jump on and get information, it's all complimentary. They can chat with me. We can look at their situation and see if working with me is something that they feel is a good fit.
I love the idea of a concept. Or do you plan on bringing that back to radio and television podcasts, or just webinar?
Well, I think that may be something that I have given a lot of thought to. I have to tell you, getting ready for doing your show today just reminded me how much my show's been on hiatus. Change It Up has been on hiatus, and I miss doing this. I miss having the opportunity to bring information to people that is going to really help them in their daily lives. So, yeah, I love the idea of Bridges Beyond Grief being a podcast. I think you may have planted a seed, JC Cooley.
Well, we miss you, Paula, being on the air, being on the airways. And just like I always told you, whenever you gave me my first opportunity.
Yes, you did.
If I can be of any help, you already know I'm there for you.
I do know that. I do know that. And I know your number and I will be calling.
Hey, Paula, so you're doing so many other things. And you mentioned the Rotary Club. And I miss the Rotary Club. I miss coming to your Rotary Club, speaking and doing all the things, etc. And a lot of people, you mentioned service before self.
Yes.
And that's what being a coach, being a counselor, being all of these things is trying to connect that we all have a duty, not just a civic duty, but we have a duty to ourselves to be the best that we can be.
Yes.
And to reach out and bring what the thing called love and hope to our communities. And your Rotary Club, Rancho Santa Fe Rotary Club is. I mean, I miss you guys a lot, and I miss the things that you all are doing. But can you tell our viewers and listeners why it's so important to be a part of something in the community that you are bringing help and joy, and when people experience these type of issues or concerns, why being a part of an organization that you believe in, that you trust, is important.
Well, I think you and I and many people we know are very blessed Very blessed, and we're grateful for that. And like you said, when you're blessed, you have a responsibility to share those blessings or to reach out and try to help in some way. And Rotary's motto, as you mentioned, is service above self. And I love that. And it gives us a great opportunity to reach out into the community to find different areas. That's how I met you, right? Because we were supporting your foundation. And we want to find different areas where we have a passion, where we really want to help. I've done work with One Safe Place, which is an amazing place that provides services for people who've been through abuse and human trafficking. One of my Rotary buddies now, Amy Scruggs, who you've had on the show, and I hope we'll have again, we're now working with nonprofits to train them how to be more visible in the media, how to reach out to people and present their message in a way that will get them the funding they need and also the visibility they need to grow their nonprofits or grow their memberships. We're also doing that very work with Rotary people. So it's, what we really want to grow out there in the world is groups like Rotary, where people are there to come together and be of service. So I'm very excited about that. Voice for Heroes is the nonprofit that Amy and I have that's reaching out to other nonprofits. And our goal is to help them without charging them. So we will raise the funding to take care of our costs, but reach out to people who need that help to grow their visibility and their funding.
We got a message out, I think Michelle sent out a couple of days ago, Paul. I don't know if you know, to Amy. And we're just waiting on Amy to get back in touch with us.
Oh,
but I miss Amy. She is so wonderful.
She's great.
And so we're hoping that she accepts our invitation. And
I'm sure. Yes.
So many great things. We're down to the last 2 minutes of the show. Paula, I want you to please tell our viewers and listeners again, how can they get in touch with you? How can they set up an appointment with you? How can they? Yeah.
They can either, the easiest way is either go to paulashaw.com or bridgesbeyondgrief.com. And do I have just a minute, JC, to give them the 5 steps of a successful, comforting conversation?
I think Kevin will give us that minute. I hope he's listening right now.
All right. The first thing, set the right intention. Don't go in there to lecture or teach, support and comfort. Secondly, be present, like we were saying. Be right there, head and butt in the same place. Third thing, come from that mindset of just wanting to comfort and support. Don't try to change them or lecture them. Fourth thing, listen. We talked about that. And fifth, when it's appropriate, respond briefly from the heart, not the head. When people are in pain, they need your humanity, not your database.
Wow. Hey, Paula, as always, you got an open invitation to the show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come. Please get in touch with Amy. Squeeze her arm a little bit. We're waiting to hear from her. And have a show and so I want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank KCBQ AM 1170 outside San Diego, FM 96 out of San Diego. I'd like to thank Kevin Todd and his team for always being great producers. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning into the channel. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, but always dream big, think big, and be big at everything we do. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us for the James Cooley Show. It's your life. To learn more about Dr. James Cooley and how you can support the show or become a guest, visit CooleyFoundation.org.